So, I was just like, um, I was watching this video on, like, I'm watching different social experiments on YouTube, and what do you know? This is on YouTube. Anyway, I was watching different social experiments. This one is called. Well, before I go into it, I watched it, got a little over halfway through, and I'm gonna watch the rest of it and continue to watch social experiment things. But I got a little over halfway through, like almost 3 minutes out of like 4.5 minutes, um, and then just kind of like paused it and started like talking out loud to myself about like what I thought of it and like the different variations and stuff and the difference between if it was me like in that experiment or in that experience compared to the way they did this. Um, and I was like, you know what? I might as well be vlogging this. So, I mean, it's obvious I'm talking out loud about my feelings about a thing and such, and might as well be talking to you guys. So, anyway, this experiment, this video, if you wanna, especially if you wanna watch it, it's called Fat Girl Tinder Date. You may have seen it before because I don't know when it came on here, when it was. Actually, it was. Oh. Well, on here it was only put on a day ago, but I'm pretty sure it happened a while ago because I've seen something about it before, but I hadn't watched it. So yeah, it's called Fat Girl Tinder Date, in parentheses, social experiment. Pretty much, they took this girl. She's a really good-looking girl. I don't know if she's a model or if she's whatever, but she's a nice-looking girl, blonde, pretty. On Tinder, she had pictures of like her and like in a bathing suit and just like regular outfits and stuff, and being all skinny and stuff. But then they put on like fat stuff, like fake fat, like fat suit and stuff. Um, and so the guys would see her on Tinder as like the skinny person that she was, and then they'd go to the date, and she would be. Well, I better not. I don't know if I should show it, but she looked a lot heavier, and it kind of showed the guys' reactions and what they said and stuff. And some of the guys that blurred out their faces, or maybe all of them. But it said before that, which I probably should have said that before now, but girls, the thing that the number one thing that they're afraid of on online dating or on Tinder or whatever is of the guy being a serial killer. And guys, the number one thing is the girl being fat. What does this say here? Anyway, whatever the case, I was thinking about like how I would feel and stuff, and I was thinking, well, honestly, I mean, yeah, it shows that guys can be very looks oriented, but honestly, at first I was thinking, well, I mean, if you expect one thing, you see their pictures and stuff, and then you see how they look, and they look totally different, a lot more weight or whatever, then like, that's like the person that you're trying to date not being honest. Which, I mean, for the sake of the experiment, they did it on purpose and stuff, but it would look as like the person's not being an honest person. Like they're trying to outwardly be different to look like they're different than they actually are on the inside, and I don't know if I'd want to date somebody like that anyway. But honestly, if I met a guy online, or like saw a guy online, I don't do Tinder, but on like an online dating site, which I met my boyfriend on an online dating site. But if I was single and I met a guy or saw a guy online, was looking through profiles, if he was, first thing I thought of when I was talking to myself was that like if he was skinny, but then when like on the pictures and then when I met him and he was like weighed a lot more type thing, I'm pretty sure, no, I can almost guarantee I would sit down or whatever and go through the entire date and see how the guy was type thing to talk to him. If I had gone to the date, I wouldn't just like be like, oh my gosh, she's ugly, or oh my gosh, she's fat, and just leave, because I feel like that would be really rude. But I mean, I don't base, I mean, they said the whole thing with like the guys being most afraid of the girl being fat or whatever, and the girls wasn't related to looks, it was serial killers or like their safety. But I honestly, like, I wouldn't be completely turned off by the fact that they were overweight type thing. And even like looking online, if some guy is like really good looking on a site, and like that's the first thing, I mean usually that's the first thing you see type thing, you'll like see their profile name or whatever and their picture, and that's usually what like draws you to the profile to look at the other stuff. But so like if the guy was like really good looking, then like a lot of the times guys that are really good looking know that they're really good looking, and I would say in my experience, well not really my experience, from what I've seen and stuff through TV and life-ish, guys that are really good looking know they're really good looking and are often jerks and players. I don't know why I want to do this, players. But they're just like really big-headed, and that's not a turn on for me at all. So like I would have to, I'd be like, oh, he's really good looking, maybe I'll check out his profile, maybe he's not as much of a jerk as he looks like. See, that's like if the guy looked really good looking, I mean I'm attracted to good looking guys, but if he looked really good looking, especially if his like picture looked all modelish and stuff, then I would be almost turned off, just because of the kind of guys that are really good looking often know they're really good looking, so on and so forth. But I would look at his profile, and if his profile like checked out, he seemed like a really good guy, all that jazz, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this guy seems really cool, and it's an awesome bonus that he's good looking, blah blah blah. And then if I went to the date after all that and agreed and like decided to have a date with this guy, and he was a lot bigger or something, then I'd be like, well, I mean, that'd take away the interpretation of him being like all big-headed and stuff, possibly, like maybe a little bit. But it wouldn't like, I think I don't know, it wouldn't be necessarily a better thing for him to be like way more, but it wouldn't be an extremely bad thing. I'd be like, oh, so he's gained some weight, maybe he needs to change his pictures on there. But I would definitely go through the date. But that's the difference between girls and guys, as they stated on here, with the girls' fear being of the guy being a serial killer, and the guy's fear of the girl being fat. I think that's interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna watch the rest of this, but I wanted to share my my thoughts on that. Yeah. Okay. Toodles.